My best friend has always had a tendency to be attracted to men and has often stolen someone's boyfriend. During the time when we had grown apart, I got married due to a certain opportunity. However, a few years later, that friend of mine actually transferred to the hospital where I was working. She deliberately stole my husband, who was already married, but she had her reasons. Unaware of anything, my friend continued to descend rapidly down the path to hell. My name is Sophia, and I am 38 years old. My husband, Robert, is 2 years younger at 36. Unfortunately, we were unable to conceive a child. Despite not having children, I believe that our life as a couple is not bad. I work as a surgeon at a general hospital. Interestingly, my father-in-law happens to be the owner and director of this hospital. Since my husband is the son of the director, one might assume that he is the heir to the hospital, but there is a significant misunderstanding in that regard. The reasons behind this will become clear later on. My friend Ava also works as a nurse at this hospital. She recently joined this hospital, but we actually met back in high school. Ava and I were in the same class during our freshman year. We were both members of the same orchestra club and played the violin. Ava was really skilled at playing the violin, and she often helped me with the difficult parts. She was a caring person and was admired by her juniors. We entered the same university, with me studying medicine and Ava studying nursing. While we both studied diligently, we continued to be in the orchestra club together, just like in high school. After graduating from university, we grew a bit distant, but we still had dinner gatherings about once every 3 months, and our friendship continued. And since Ava transferred to the hospital where I was working, we started spending more time together, going out as a duo. So far, it seems like Ava and I have a very close bond. However, there was one thing about Ava that I wasn't satisfied with, and it was her tendency to be attracted to men. Ava is still single at 38. Whenever I had a boyfriend in the past, she would always aggressively pursue them and snatch them away from me. It happened in high school and college as well. When I was dating my current husband, she and I grew a bit distant. And since I kept my boyfriend a secret from her, I was able to marry my current husband. If Ava had found out about my relationship with my current husband, I don't think we would have gotten married. However, just because we got married, it was unwise to casually introduce my husband to Ava. To Ava, where the person was married or not, it didn't matter. Today, I was able to finish work right on time. Since I was able to leave earlier than usual, I decided to go to the city for some shopping. As I was leisurely window shopping, I spotted a tall man ahead. It was my husband. My husband is 6 feet tall, so it's easy to spot him in a crowd. Thinking he was shopping alone, I tried to call out to him, but it seemed like he was talking to someone. As I approached without saying anything, I realized that Ava was with my husband. I think my husband and Ava had met once before. Why are those two walking together so amiably? Is it because of Ava's bad habit? While thinking that way, I took a photo of the two walking closely together. I saw them enter a restaurant. I considered continuing to tail them, but since I was able to leave early, I didn't want to give up my time for myself, so I reluctantly left the scene. While eating dinner from my favorite takeout place, I waited for my husband to come home. It's past 8 p.m., 9 p., and 10 p.m., and there is still no sign of him returning. As I continued to wait, at 10:30 p.m., the front door finally opened. Without welcoming my husband back with kindness, I stood in the living room, waiting for him to enter. "I'm home!" My husband came home with the same usual enthusiasm, and while I was annoyed by it, I asked him where he had been today. "Hey, Robert, where were you today? You came back pretty late." "Oh, I'm sorry for coming home late. My friend, didn't let me leave easily, haha." My husband told a blatant lie. "If you tell me the truth right now, I'll at least listen to what you have to say. That friend is Ava, right?" My husband was surprised to hear the name Ava. "Why?" If he says it like that, he is almost admitting it. So, I showed him a few photos I took with my phone. "Aren't these you and Ava? Today, I finished work early and went out to the city. Then, I happened to see the two of you, walking together so closely like this. This must be somebody else." I don't think there are many men over 6 feet, wearing the same clothes as his. "If you confess honestly and break it off immediately, I'll pretend this didn't happen. But if you don't, I'll contact your parents right away." "Oh, I really don't want you to do that." "Then, do you admit to having an affair?" "Yes." "Well, we could call her right now, but maybe we should have a written agreement, so we should meet her some other time." My husband agreed to that, and we decided to sleep for the night. A few days later, I invited Ava to my house. Of course, my husband was also there. Ava was excited to come to our house for the first time. "Wow, it's a luxury apartment, isn't it? The view is amazing, haha." Despite the fact that we were about to have a conversation about the affair, Ava was so cheerful. I couldn't help but wonder what was going on in Ava's mind. "Ava, stop staring outside, and come over here to sit." That's how the discussion began. I showed them the photos which I printed from my phone. "Are these Robert and you?" "Yeah, that's right. You were having an affair, weren't you?" "Well, to be precise, it was about to start. That day, we had a meal at a restaurant, and then we went to a bar for more drinks, Ava continued to talk. "It was a fateful encounter for us. You happened to meet Robert first, and you ended up getting married, but the truth is, Robert should have married me. Fate can be cruel, haha." "Sorry, Sophia. I also believe that my encounter with Ava was fate." Both of them were so insistent on fate, it was annoying. That was my impression. Listening to two people over 35 years old constantly talk about fate is rather comical. Perhaps they finished saying what they wanted to say, and the two of them were about to leave the house. "Where are you going?" "Well, obviously we are going on a date. We could have gone on a date much sooner, but you called me over, so it ended up being this late. Well, I might not go home tonight, haha." After she said that, the two of them left while clinging to each other. Late at night on that day, I received a message from Ava. The message included a photo of a hotel where she would likely be with my husband. "I'm going to marry the heir of the General Hospital. He is too good for you, Sophia. I'm the one who is suited to be the heir's wife." Sigh, so she was attracted to his status as an heir. I wondered what would happen when she finds out the truth. I couldn't bring myself to talk about the truth at that moment, so I didn't reply to her message. A few days later, my husband, Ava, and I were called to the director's office. Because I had informed my parents-in-law that I had something to tell them about my husband. In addition to my parents-in-law, Mr. Thomas, my father-in-law's acquaintance who is a lawyer, was also present. They probably thought they would need legal advice. By the way, my mother-in-law is the head nurse, the director of nurses at this hospital. The first one to speak was my father-in-law. "Robert, are you planning to divorce Sophia and marry the woman over there?" "Yes, her name is Ava, and she works as a nurse at this hospital." "I heard that from your mother and Sophia. She seems to be good at work, but I heard that she fools around with men." "Isn't that a misunderstanding on Sophia's part?" "If that's what you want to believe, it's fine, but I trust what Sophia says." "And you, was it Ava? Do you really intend to marry Robert?" Ava was taken aback when he suddenly started talking to her. She hesitated for a moment, but quickly regained her composure. "Yes, I genuinely want to marry Robert. I'm well aware of his infidelity, so today I brought the consolation money." Saying so, she handed me an envelope that seemed to contain the consolation money. "I'm giving you $1,000 as consolation money. Receive it with gratitude, haha. With this, I'm getting closer to marrying the wealthy heir," she said triumphantly in my ear. Perhaps the lawyer, Mr. Thomas, overheard that, and the two of us burst into laughter. Ava seems to be oblivious to the truth, as well as the standard rate of consolation money. After a moment of laughter, Mr. Thomas began explaining about consolation money. "Regarding consolation money for infidelity, even if it doesn't lead to divorce, a minimum of $5,000 is usually required, and the average is around $10,000. In cases like this, where divorce is involved, consolation money for infidelity generally ranges from around $20,000 to $30,000 per person. Therefore, from the husband who cheated and his affair partner, we will demand a total of approximately $40,000 to $60,000. In this case, based on discussions with Sophia, we are considering requesting $50,000 from both parties together. Hence, the remaining $49,000 will be formally claimed." "Huh? Is consolation money really that big? You must be joking." Now it's my turn to speak. "You really have no common sense. Do you think that the emotional wounds I suffered from your infidelity can be healed with just $1,000? Infidelity is such a high-risk affair, you know. This is what happens when you start having a love affair, without thinking much of it." I thought she became meek after hearing what I said, but Ava still maintained a strong attitude. "Well, we'll pay $50,000 or whatever. After all, Robert is the heir to this hospital, right? You can easily afford to pay around $50,000, can't you?" Ava looked at her husband as she asked. However, she couldn't get a favorable response from my husband. About being the heir." My husband's response was evasive. My father-in-law spoke next. "Ava, it seems you have some misunderstandings. The heir to this hospital is Sophia." "Huh?" Wakana looked as if she couldn't understand what was being said. "But Robert is the son of the director, right?" "That's true, but Robert doesn't have a medical license." "Huh?" Ava exclaimed. "Ava, do you really not know anything?" Somehow, I started to feel a little sorry for Ava, because this means that my husband hasn't told her anything. To make Ava understand, I began to explain step by step. First, let's talk about Robert's background. He attempted the medical school entrance exam for 3 years. Ultimately, he couldn't pass. After that, he took the entrance exam for nursing program, and he passed, so he enrolled in the nursing program. However, after attending for 6 months, he realized it wasn't suitable for him and dropped out. He spent 1 more year studying independently and attempted the medical school entrance exam again, but he did fail this time as well. After that, he remained unemployed and became a NET. Moreover, it seems that he has recently become addicted to gambling, and he would ask me for money every day. Perhaps he may have taken on debt for gambling. There's no way a NET like him can become the successor of the hospital. Well, if he had studied business administration, and he had been involved in managing the hospital, he might have been able to do a decent job. However, he didn't want to study anymore, and he gave up on everything and became a NET. Now, do you understand what Robert's background is like, Ava? I understood his background. Then, why did you marry Robert, Sophia? Let me explain, said my father-in-law. It was me who told Sophia that I wanted her to marry my son. I've been contemplating the future of the hospital, and it has always been my hope to provide medical care while understanding the patient's feelings. That's the reason why Sophia was a perfect fit for those criteria. She always strives to help patients without abandoning anyone. She also has a good reputation, and she is trusted by the many nurses who work at this hospital. Isn't that right, Margaret? My father-in-law asked. My mother-in-law responded. Yes, that's true. She is friendly and reliable in times of need. Doctors like her earn the trust of the staff as well. So that's why I asked Sophia to marry my son and take over this hospital. That idea won't change, even if Sophia and Robert get divorced. I'll do whatever I can, even go through an adoption process, to entrust this hospital to Sophia. If you want to marry Robert, you sold support him, Ava. We have no intention of taking care of Robert any further, my father-in-law said firmly. I was deeply moved by the trust one received from my father-in-law, but Ava's face turned pale and she trembled. I decided to get back at them a little. I mean, Ava, even if Robert is a NET, you're still going to marry him, right? Because you both called it a fateful encounter. You've been going on and on about destiny, so take responsibility for your own words, I said. Ava's face grew even paler in response to my words. I also addressed Robert, who remained silent. Robert, your destiny is turning so pale like that. Don't you want to help her? Your destiny is suffering, I said. But even if I said that, there was nothing my husband could do. After all, Ava had to take in Robert, who was neither employed nor the successor. The two remained silent, bowing their heads. Then, my lawyer, Mr. Thomas, delivered an additional blow. Robert, you've used the hospital's money, haven't you? This was news to me as well. But indeed, I had been curious how he got the money for the dates with Ava. I couldn't imagine that Ava had paid, and Robert hardly had any money because of gambling. In that case, he might have used the hospital's money. Robert, is it true? My father-in-law showed the most surprised expression of the day. Answer, Robert! My mother-in-law also seemed angry. My husband didn't say anything. It became a moment of silence for a while. It was I who couldn't stand it anymore. Robert, answer properly. Did you use the hospital's funds for the sake of your dates with Ava? Perhaps he realized that he couldn't get away with I have no idea what you are talking about. My husband finally started talking. I took it. What did you use it for? As you said, it was for the date funds with Ava. Anything else? There must be more, right? I'm sorry. I used it for gambling, too. With this, the evidence was obtained. In fact, I had been recording everything on a voice recorder as a precaution. Since my husband confessed to using the hospital's funds, I decided to submit this recording data as evidence and file a report with the police. Regarding these matters, I decided to seek the assistance of my lawyer. In the end, I heard that about $10,000 of the hospital funds was used. This is to be returned separately from the criminal penalty. Furthermore, due to the debts accumulated from gambling, my husband is now burdened with a total debt of $45,000, which includes $25,000 in consolation money for me, $10,000 of misused money, and $10,000 of gambling debt. Additionally, Ava has also incurred a debt of $25,000. If these two were to actually get married, it appears they would have to repay a total debt of $70,000. A written agreement for the money claim has been prepared. Even if they try to escape from us, who are the victims, it is already too late. Then, I had my husband sign the divorce papers on the spot. We are going to the municipal office to have it officially accepted and proceed with the divorce later. Of course, my husband will have to move out of our luxury condominium. Will he try to crash at Ava's house or something? Ava is greatly shocked by the fact that she has incurred debts. I have a feeling that she will quickly abandon my husband. Then, my mother-in-law delivers another blow to Ava. No matter how skilled you are, the mind of trying to steal someone else's belongings disqualifies you from being a nurse. You will be dismissed, effective immediately. The losses Ava has suffered in just one day are immeasurable. The aftermath of the story. In the end, my ex-husband and Ava did not get married. Even for the two who talked about destiny like that, it seems that a destiny is out of the picture when money is involved. My husband was arrested first. After that, even though he paid for his crime, his criminal record and being at NET made it difficult for him to find a job. In an attempt to alleviate the anxiety of unemployment, he spent his days gambling. Instead of decreasing, his debt continued to grow. Ava moved to a different region where nobody knows her, started working as a nurse, and she is diligently paying off her debts. On the other hand, I officially completed adoption with my in-laws. With this, I am able to inherit the hospital in the future. I will continue to work sincerely with patients and do my best to create a comfortable working environment for our hospital staff. For now, I have decided to prioritize work, and I think it's okay to put thoughts of romance and marriage aside for a while.